Bad decision. Rely, boys and girls.
Yay!
Hello. Oh, weather report. What's happening?
So thank you all for coming, and let's see if I quit again today.
You got mad enough to quit. You and him were not making any progress. So
There was no communication going on.
it's good that one of you quit because there was no progress being had.
I mean, honestly,
And I came back though after I spent 20 minutes beating my Danny body pillow.
okay, there's so many questions to raise with that, but never mind.
Can you get custom body pillows made?
Yes,
With somebody's face on?
yeah, you can,
Yeah.
you can actually have. I looked this up because why not? I need to spend money, but you can. You can choose any image you want, and they will customize it and ship it to your house. So, yeah.
I got to get that because pillows are fun to shoot.
God, so what? Do you want to get a custom pillow of somebody and just shoot it? Like,
Yeah, it
what?
depends on the pillow. Some of them are pretty spectacular. They just kind of really blow up nice.
But one of the weirdest things
Not
I
a
found about-
body pillow's not a blow up doll, dude.
No, I know, but generally when you buy a body pillow, you use it to just sleep with, and I don't mean sleep with as in that, but just to hug while you're sleeping.
I mean, not if you get the anatomically correct one.
So we have, yeah, you see the comment on the right here, Jamie Russell, raw meat.
Raw meat.
Jesus,
That's my favorite name for him.
he's like
But-
he's like a fruitarian or something. I don't know. I can't pronounce. He's not a vegan, but he's a fruit.
My new name,
Fruitarian.
my new name for him is Raw Mat Fruit Bat.
I suggest that all vegans and fruitarians switch to breathitarian or whatever they're called. Aeritarian. Yeah.
Aren't there people? Aren't there people who feed off the sun? Like literally, they
No,
they don't eat.
Well, they claim to.
Yeah, but they claim to.
Yeah, nobody can do that. You can't do
Yeah, they're called breatharians or something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could literally, because I'm so overweight, I could probably go 6 months without consuming any solid food because I would just, eat. It would just, my body would just eat the fat on my body. But as far as like these people that say they live on oxygen or they live on the sun, no.
That's just one of the most. You know what? Moving on. Obviously, Speed wants to watch this destruction video. The beautiful destruction of evolution.
I just wanted to point out the 3 boxes of rocks. The box of rocks in the upper left is the fullest box of rocks. And then we have the raccoon, who's not quite as smart as a raccoon, and one of the emptiest, well, it's between him and Fruit Bat.
Yeah, I have a quick question. How do you feel? How do you feel about him using a raccoon for an avatar?
Well, I think what he's trying to show us where he's at in the animal kingdom.
God damn.
Well, but are you sure though? You said earlier today you thought he was only like 11 years old.
Yeah, I don't know. He's probably, 14, 15, or 16. Who knows what he is? But whatever he is, he's a fucking box of rocks. Oh, my God.
I wonder what happened to Guzman. I wonder if he's still around.
He's actually pretty smart. And he comes on atheist streams, and he sounds very reasonable and open-minded. And then he goes on Christian streams, and he sounds like a creationist. Now, I don't know.
You mean like Danny? Oh, wait, no, never mind.
Yeah. A little bit two-faced, maybe? Sort of. I don't know what's going on there.
I mean, I've been called two-faced before. It doesn't really mean anything unless you actually are two-faced, but go on.
Where's dude's laser rifle?
So a buckwheat pillow is the best. You can contour it to any position, but how does it respond to a 45 hollow point? That's what I want.
Yeah, that's usually all I ask when I go shopping for pillows. Usually the
Who's been smoked
salespeople,
to
they
death?
don't know anything, but occasionally you get the guy who knows exactly what you mean.
You should probably.
I have to step away for a second. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm
You
sorry.
should email the dude that owns My Pillow. Maybe he knows. He's a right wing nut. He probably shoots his pillows.
He probably does.
Probably been shooting them quite a bit lately.
It's about all you can do with them.
He's getting his ass sued. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't go spreading lies about people's means of living, especially when they're already rich.
You know, I was just introduced today to, and this person was on, I think, his channel before, but there's a debate on MDD tonight, an abortion debate again, you know, and the person that's, I believe, against it, Ellie, I don't know, but she's like somebody I've seen around the community, but she's got one of them check marks on Twitter, so you know, like she's big stuff or something.
I mean, I don't know what the hell you need to do to actually get a check mark, but I guess be a celebrity.
I mean, I don't know when you know, like regular everyday people don't get them check marks. It's somebody who's like some influencer or, you know.
Yeah, but then you have someone. Yeah, but then you have someone like Ethan Ralph who has a check mark, and he's not really. Well, he's a YouTube celebrity, I suppose, but never mind. Moving on.
But this woman's name is Ariel Scarchell, if you Cell. I'm not sure how you say that. Scarchell, maybe. And she's identifies as as recent ago as a year ago, she was a progressive, and now she's a Trumper.
I mean, she probably changed her mind in that time. Not impossible.
Well,
obviously,
obviously, to make that switch, there had to be some changing of the mind. I mean, yes, of course. I just find that kind of odd, you know, like when an atheist becomes a Christian, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I know it is a little weird, but to go on a tangent, not really a tangent, since Speed is gone. I always found the Christians who say, "Oh, I was an atheist," but I don't know. I always find those stories kind of suspect because I feel like they. I hate to say this, but I feel like they weren't true atheists to use that fallacy without meaning to use it.
They could be atheists, they're just not rational, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where they've always raised a red flag for me. You know what I mean? When people always say, "Oh, I was an atheist," but then, Pascal's wager converted me, and I'm like, okay, if Pascal's wager converted you, then what? You know what I mean? Where do you go from there?
So people have actually been converted through Pascal's wager?
Yes.
I think I've heard people say they have. Well, it sounds reasonable. It's one of those quote unquote common sense things that really doesn't make common sense if you think about it.
I mean, if you're a Christian that became a Christian because of Pascal's wager, I would have to say that your beliefs are pretty weak then. I mean, because basically Pascal wager is the believe to hedge your bets, because boy, if you're an atheist and you're wrong, you're going to burn in hell forever. But if you make yourself believe, you're covered.
Yeah, well, that also
looks like we are.
Just hold on a sec. Let me get something really quick. That also implies that their atheist beliefs were weak as well, because because if they could be swayed, like that easily by Pascal's wager, how strong were your beliefs in atheist? Well, for this conversation, were your beliefs in atheism if you were swayed that easily?
Sal Cordova talked about having been an atheist, and then he keeps making reference to when he was in college and finding creationist friends and being part of that creationist group, and I'm just not buying any of that shit. And
yeah.
if anything, what happens is people in their 20s will go out and start partying, and then they'll come back to their Christian bullshit that they were raised in, and they'll say, I used to be an atheist. And what they really mean is that they didn't go to church for a few years. Drinking, right? And used to be an atheist is a lot of and then it is fair to be an atheist and not ever think about any kind of philosophy or anything. Just be, you just don't believe. And so there are people like that, and then they're, they may be converted, but this used to be an atheist, I don't think applies to thinking atheists who actually reason it out and try to figure it out.
Hey, I think Top Dog really wants to make this point because he posted it twice.
Yeah, go ahead. Top Dog.
And he's absolutely right. He says just because someone is an atheist doesn't mean they are rational. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to display that quote and then this quote. Let's see. What is the other one? There's the other one. You don't.
Accident put you instead of they.
Oh my God!
I deleted it.
He's here. He's here.
Oh, beautiful.
My buddy. My favorite boy.
Look at that! Right. Look at the first thing he posted.
I rarely meet atheists that are justified in their belief. Well, you don't meet a lot of people, actually, Danny, because and there's probably a good reason for why they keep you in the house.
God damn!
Get you out.
I know without even talking to him now that Danny has some long-winded, complicated, convoluted idea of why they're not justified in their belief, but I'm calling bullshit because
what do you mean by
you don't even need necessarily a justification for your belief. You basically need a rationalization. Like you don't need like any empirical evidence of your belief because it's just a belief.
I wonder what he means by meet an atheist. Like, what does he mean by meet? Like the meta meaning of meet, or the putative meaning of meet. I'm not sure what he means.
I want to know what he means by their.
Yeah,
their beliefs. Like, what do you mean? Their?
That possessive thing. There's a lot of unpacking there.
I mean, we could talk the whole stream about what he means by I rarely. I mean,
yes.
Did you see the latest thing he posted? To have knowledge, you need to have justification. Not.
Nope.
To have knowledge. Wait a minute. Now you're talking about something different, Danny. You're talking about knowledge.
Yeah.
Sure, you have to have justification for knowledge because knowledge is a justified true belief. But belief, you just have to have a rationale for why you believe a certain thing.
I was just going to play a little bit of this, but then I decided we'll listen to Standing's cold open. Standing for truth or lying with the Bible.
So do you think it's a little out of place now that he has gone on camera? Shouldn't he do away with the Superman avatar?
No.
I mean, because he looks more like Jimmy Olsen than he does Superman.
He does.
I still hold it. He looks like the nostalgia critic or the light. I don't know. I just get that vibe.
I can't figure out whose picture I like better here right now.
Danny, John Peterson. That doesn't make sense.
Well, it's because he thinks I said rational. I said rationale.
Oh, Danny, you don't make sense, Danny. When you say that doesn't make sense, Danny doesn't make sense when he says that.
Yeah.
Yep.
First he says John Peterson's right. Well, except for here where you were wrong.
Okay, John Peterson is right. Who needs a Twitter channel? Okay, Creation Myth said, "What the fuck is going on that channel?" I don't know. Raw Matt seems to be. I guess this one, Raw Matt seems to be in black lighting or darkness. Although I might just be being blind.
Well, no, that's what happens to you when you're a vegan. You just slowly fade away.
Well, let's see what happens when 3 boxes of rocks get together at 3 a.m. Whatever this was.
Are live and ready to have some fun. I hope everybody appreciates the thumbnail as much as we do. Certainly represents the critics perfectly in the fact that the evidence that we are going to present tonight, the critics, the evolutionists, the scoffers, they do nothing but dodge and avoid that evidence as best as they can. Essentially just deny the reality of genetic entropy, genomic degeneration. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We've got Brother Ramat, Brother Will here. The reason why we're doing this show, titled The Destroyer of Fish to Fisherman Evolution, Genetic Entropy, the Evolutionist's Worst Nightmare. It really is the evolutionist's worst nightmare. Mm-hmm. They've got no good rebuttal, no good argument against this reality. Okay, the fact that mutations are accumulating from generation to far too many to doing. So therefore, you got some questions, some input. You've learned a lot, so you've got a lot to say on this topic. So, Will, good to have you. Matt, good to have you. Will, what are your thoughts in general? Genetic entropy.
Okay, we're gonna hear Will's thoughts. This is fucking precious.
I just wanted to say we have the gentleman who showed us why genetic entropy is bullshit in our live chat right now. That would be Dr. Dan, otherwise known as Creation Myths. He's got 2 great videos scheduled for the next few days, I think, which will be something to look forward to. So anybody who's not looked at Dan's channel by now, go ahead and find Creation Myths and subscribe to it.
And post any videos you want to.
And then after we hear from Will, will we hear from Groot?
Yeah, Dan, I would go easy on Will, except I heard, except if you saw the icon that he chose to about 3 weeks back, and if you heard some of the things he said about women and some of the things he said about people in general, gay people maybe, if you heard some of the shit this little kid said, you wouldn't go so easy on him. I mean, we can go easy on children. And the other thing is that Praise has apparently given him like administrative control over his goddamn
Why does
StreamYard.
Praise do that? Sorry to do that again, but holy shit.
But I mean, this is not a kid that anyone should go easy on. I mean, there are some 13-year-olds that go in and start killing people. And should we go easy on them? Should we not criticize them?
Look, I don't know. You can go, Will or whatever the fuck. He's a kid, but he may just be misguided or whatever. But
misguided. But it's just like you probably remember Midnight when what's his name? Every time I fucking go to mention him, I can't remember his name. And you guys always have to tell me. The other kid that now he's coming around and learning some science, and you just said yesterday he's real smart.
Oh, Andrew, right?
No, the kid that used to come over to Rage's channel all the time, Guzman. Yeah, Guzman. Yeah. And people used to say that too, like, he's a kid, cut him a break. But then he'd come into the live chat or into a stream, and he'd be doing what Speed just mentioned, saying horrible things about gay people and women. And
no, I realized that. Yeah, I realized that, job. But whenever I see like a kid do that, you know what? He's a kid. He doesn't know what the fuck he's saying.
Well, you can say that and still give them blowback for it because
I know. I'm not disagreeing against that.
The problem with Guzman was his parents would come over there too sometimes, and they'd be in the chat saying horrible shit.
Yeah,
so
that was disturbing.
Exactly how he became, what he became, but you still have to, maybe not like,
I just, I'm not
like, now you're doing it to me.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, like Dan, Dr. Dan said, hey, cut him a break. He's a kid, but you still, you got to give him some blowback for it because he's got to hear the right shit from somebody. He's not hearing it from his parents, obviously.
Yeah.
And you know, even given all that, okay, if we were to cut him some slack, what in the hell is Raw Matt Standing for Truth bringing him in for his opinion on genetics and the book Genetic Entropy, which is what he's asking about right now? So I mean, what is that all about? I mean,
is that SFT's version of you know, like a review for his book? Ask all the 11-year-olds what they.
I think so. Yeah. Anyway, let's see what he has to say about it.
Entropy and your current study on it.
Well, mutation are accumulating or going down. That's what the evidence show. We're looking at the evidence. The evidence show that, you know, it's a recent creation that has been devolving, as God says, you know, for thy sake I will curse thee. He cursed the ground, everything went down, it's lying down. We can see that from the, you know, if we read into Genesis 8, I think we can see that the age is decreasing. Everything's decreasing, the radiation, you know, the magnetic field, so we're decreasing down, more mutation accumulating. We're just lying down. There's a lot of papers on it, a lot of evidence from creationism, from evolutionists, you know, from agnostic. So I think the evidence are really showing up that we're lying down, we're degenerating, not evolving. And I think it's a big problem for common ancestor. If we have been there for 2,000 years, it's not possible with the numbers of mutation we will have in our genome.
We
So
stop.
yeah, that's my thought on it.
Oh man, that really stung the evolutionists. That little.
Well, doesn't it sound like he's just repeating a bunch of shit that he's heard these guys say?
That's what I was thinking.
You know, and then the other thing is he says between creationists and evolutionists and agnostics. Okay, so he's, you know, I don't get where that comes from. Like if he's talking about between creationists and people that believe in evolution, and to say that between those two there's an agnostic position, like that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, if you're a creationist, you kind of stand alone, you know what I mean? Like, and then there's people that agree that evolution is a thing. There's the scientifically minded that know for sure it's a thing. And then I think one of you guys had said in a past stream that there's very few, but there are some scientists who have like an alternative idea of how, like they don't necessarily accept evolution. Very small number of them.
I'm not sure.
I thought somebody in here had said something like that, but
No, was that person Margolis or Margulis that used to be married to Carl Sagan?
Oh no, no. That was she just brought in the concept of horizontal gene transfer and endosymbiosis and stuff like
That's the only person I remember talking about that might have been something like that. But so she basically rejected some part of some standard theory and decided to go with
no, she didn't reject it, she extended it.
Okay.
And that's and she's misquoted quite often.
Right.
hey, can I share something real quick, just as an aside?
Yeah.
Okay. So remember a few moments ago when Danny was in the chat balking at the idea, I said that, you know, you need to have a rationale for your belief. Okay. So now he just posted, him and Jerry are going back and forth. And a few minutes ago, he posted, Jerry Penna, also knowledge is overrated. It's okay to have a belief and just explain it rather than try to justify it. What did you think I meant when I said have a rationale for your belief? Like, yeah, an explanation of why you believe that. Like, but you said it was stupid whether I said rational or rationale. And then here you are basically repeating the same thing I did, only with another word. I think sometimes he just wants to disagree.
Yeah. On this genetic entropy, when you talk about Kondrashov and a few other people, and the reason that Sanford got invited to the National Health Institute is that there is a concern that because of our lifestyle and the fact that we save everyone, that we're basically that we are possibly in danger of increasing certain mutations in our population. But now this video supposedly is about fish to fishermen or evolution in general, or common descent, that sort of thing, and they only concentrate on humans. And in this the first part of this video, they only concentrate on mitochondria. They don't talk about nuclear genomes at all, hardly. And it's and they keep doing that, and that is sort of what is that called? There's a word for it, and it's not a good one. Basically, it's just bad argument, and that's what they concentrate on. They keep pointing out Kondrashov, and Kondrashov wrote a whole book because there's concern that that our population may be accumulating some degenerative mutations, but they don't approach it right at all. They're just full of shit the way he presents it. Anyway, so we have that, and then we change over to raw fruit bat. And I don't know, I'm not sure why I bookmarked this, but I haven't looked any further into this video than the first few minutes.
Near neutral. So they're also affecting us. That's what John Sanford has discovered as well, because they're not neutral. They're slightly deleterious, but selection cannot see them. And for those that say, well,
I just want to point out that John Sanford discovered this. Well, he wasn't working in any laboratory or working with any population genetics. He just discovered it while sitting in his armchair writing a book. That's how he discovered it.
Selection can see them. Well, some bad news on that front is they have. Sorry, you gotta do everything for me tonight. You gotta share my screen again. This was their comment. Selection is unlikely to be a... Okay,
so here we have a quote, and he doesn't tell you where the quote came from, but it's by a paper some guy whose name I wouldn't even... There are very few names I won't try to pronounce. Segwit Dowder? I don't know. Anyway, but this quote is not from that person. It's from another person. I think it's Thomas or... I got the paper here somewhere, but I had to go search for it because these guys don't know how to source their stuff, right? So that paper, it's from Howell, 2003. And they have Howell, 2003, this paper, Parsons, and a few others. They continually bring those same papers up on mitochondrial DNA. And there's a big concern over mitochondrial DNA because it's almost impossible because of the way the populations that are in each of our cells are like little mini populations themselves, and they're very difficult. So there are issues with mitochondrial DNA, but I have not looked into, and maybe Dr. Dan has, I have not looked into the current research on mitochondrial DNA, and these guys sure as fuck haven't either.
Yeah. Speaking of Dr. Dan, he made a good point about deleterious but invisible to selection.
Yeah.
You want to put that up on the screen?
Yep.
So definitionally, there cannot be invisible to selection deleterious mutation.
Yeah, this near neutral is kind of the problem. And how do they say it? They say, what do they say? Mildly deleterious or something, or they take near neutral, and near neutral is something Kimura used, but he never talked about deleterious particularly. At least he doesn't reference it in the index of any of his books. So they've kind of taken this to another place. And how they see that is, if it's slightly deleterious is how they put it. Okay, slightly deleterious. And I can't find any reference to that in any of Kimura's work. And what they're trying to imply is that DNA is like metal, like your car, like it can rust a little bit at a time. And that isn't quite how DNA works. The mutations, if they're neutral, will accumulate and they won't do anything. And then when they do something, they can definitely be selected against, as Dr. Dan put here.
You said doo-doo.
Did I say doo-doo?
Yeah. Anyway, that's my infantile contribution.
Thank you.
Yeah, and here's where the dunce in the room can and Dr. Dan laid it out there simply for people like me to understand. I mean, it's if a mutation is deleterious, well, then it gets selected out. So
Right. And that's what they miss, and that just crumbles the whole thing. And there are populations like bottleneck populations that will, if the population shrinks down to a certain size, where deleterious mutations can basically drift into the entire population, cause an extinction event, or inbreeding can cause some sort of a problem. And we know that species go extinct all the time. That's part of evolution. That's not an argument against evolution.
Oh, you may have hit on a very important point.
I think I always do, don't I?
Is this maybe? Could this explain what's wrong with these guys?
They're inbreeding.
Yeah.
Well, might be the case for fruit bat. I don't know. Fruit bat's eyes look pretty black, and even when he turned the light on, it still looked pretty sunken. I think fruit bat needs to eat a porterhouse or some bacon.
Yeah. Or maybe eat some pussy.
Anyway, I haven't gone through much more of this video, and I'm not sure if you guys want to listen anymore, but what happens is they keep putting up references, and you have to go search down the references and find out what they're really saying. This one, selection is unlikely to be okay, this has nothing to do with what he's claiming it says. Like, okay, let's see what he says.
The major factor that underlies the differences between the phylogenetic, which is the evolutionary, and the pedigree divergence rates, which is not the same thing as saying that selection does not act on mtDNA. So they're saying that selection can remove them. And overall, it doesn't have that much of an effect. It can.
Okay, that has nothing to do with the paper. The paper is talking.
Just wants a link, so he wants to comment on this.
Okay. So the paper is talking about the difference. Okay, they found for pedigree rates, they found that they're 10 times bigger than phylogenetic rates or substitution rates, and that's what the paper is about. It doesn't say anything about neutral selection not having an effect, or mutations not being selected against. And Ramat just totally misrepresents that paper. And this is their evidence, over and over and over again. They put shit on the screen that has nothing to do with their arguments, and they just claim that they've destroyed evolution or destroyed Dr. Dan or destroyed Erica, that they put stuff out.
Yeah, it always triggers the fuck out of me too. You mentioned Erica, like when Speed talks bad about Erica as if she doesn't know what she's talking about. Like that just kind of is so cringeworthy. Like when these guys here, like Smokey and his crowd were going after Dr. Josh, about his expertise and just being idiots while they're doing it. I mean, I don't know what that is when you part of the Dunning-Kruger effect when you think you're smarter than the experts. I guess I don't know.
Did you listen to this one, Dan?
I have not listened to any of it. I don't really listen to SFT stuff anymore unless someone points to a specific relevant part, because I don't have time to waste my time listening to 3 hours of their inane blathering. But I just wanted to point out that you shouldn't waste your time chasing down all the sources that they're going to throw up for genetic entropy stuff, because it's the easiest argument to debunk, because John Sanford gets basic population. Oh, hey, Walker. Sanford gets the most basic population genetics wrong. It's so easy. It's just because Sanford says that you can have the accumulation of mutations that are harmful, but they can't be selected against because the effect is too small. The word for mutations like that is neutral. And if at any point they cumulatively start to have a fitness effect, meaning they negatively impact your reproductive output, then they can be selected against.
Yep.
And the only way, it's not more complicated than that. The only way for a population to go extinct through that mode is for everybody to accumulate exactly equal fitness costs. at the same time. But because mutations are random and their fitness effects are random, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're always going to have some individuals that are better than others. And selection is going to preserve the least bad of everyone. And once you get to a threshold where some are viable and some aren't, selection will preserve the viable ones. It's not more complicated than that. And that's like basic population genetics.
Yeah, there's one other little gem in here where Ramat said that something about the mammoth moved north and they got into some snowy cold and they mutated and died or something. That's his theory of mammoths. Or mammoths. Like that was pretty precious, and there was just a whole lot of dumb coming out of this guy for about 15 minutes. I forget what. Okay, and then he has this list of quotes. You know, people that like Kondrashov, famously, with his 100.
Yeah, people
whatever.
that he's misrepresenting, right?
Right. Yep. And I have Kondrashov's book, and the book is about this concern, and he talks about chickens. What else he talks? There's a place where you.
Dr. Dan, can you explain Snake was right's last comment?
Oh, what did he say? Hang on, sorry. Let me see here. Always ask SFT how you can simultaneously have no selection and fitness reduction. Yeah, exactly. If you, like, the definition of fitness is reproductive output. If you have something that is being selected against, that means that the effect of that allele or whatever it is negatively impacts your reproductive output. So other individuals that don't have that trait in the population are having more offspring proportionally. So the frequency of that trait decreases because you're getting outcompeted. Like, that's the definition of being selected against, is hurting fitness. So if you have a situation where a trait is harmful, what you're saying, and deleterious in this context just means hurts your fitness, harmful. If you have a trait that you can say that trait is harmful, what you are saying by definition is that compared to other individuals in the population, you will suffer a cost to your reproductive output for having that trait, which means by definition, it is being selected against. All of these words, selected against, deleterious, they all mean the same thing.
Yep.
So it is literally impossible to be harmful and also not be selected against. That is a literal contradiction.
But have you caught how they took the term near neutral and changed it to slightly deleterious?
Yep, those do not mean the same thing. That's the little bait and switch there. And on that famous creation.com piece, creation.com/fitness, I know it so well. I know the URL. They say at the bottom that we creationists can only win this debate when we change the terms.
Yep.
And that's one of the bait and switches they do, where they take nearly neutral theory, which, as Walker said a few minutes ago in the chat, is when you have things that have such a small effect on reproductive output, if the population it has to do with the ratio of the effect of the trait on fitness compared to the effective population size. And if the effective population size is at a certain threshold relative to the effect of the trait, then that trait will change frequency due to drift rather than due to selection. That's nearly neutral theory. That's different from slightly deleterious. Those two words don't mean the same thing, but Sanford conflates the term slightly deleterious, meaning having a small effect on fitness, with the math for nearly neutral, meaning not selected against, because it doesn't have any effect.
I'm completely flabbergasted by what you said at the beginning of that they admit on their site, we can only win if we change the terms. I mean, because
I will link it for you. It is astonishing.
Well, right. And basically, to me, I translate that in my brain to read, we can only win if we straw man.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Well, Dan, when I first started talking to Sal Cordova, we had a couple of streams where I was pushing back on his problem with fitness. He wanted to redefine fitness. He admitted when he was talking to SFT et al. Late at night, he admitted that John Sanford told him that they have to change their definition. He said, if you want to win the debate, you have to change your definitions. John Sanford, and so Sal said that out loud, that he got that right from Sanford. So,
yep, that's it.
That's what they do. Yeah, so there really isn't much point in paying
Here, I
attention
just
to
I just
other.
put the quote in the chat, and then there's a second half to that paragraph, but it's you can go on that link. It's the last paragraph under conclusion. I just put Speed. If you want to pull up that last thing I just put in the public chat there, that's the takeaway from the piece I linked.
Okay, hang on a second here.
Yeah, and it's in the very last, the conclusion of it, where they're like, only when we insist that the terms of the debate be fair and accurate will we have any chance to clearly communicate the truth of creation and the bankruptcy of Darwinism.
There you
Is
go.
it right here? Right here?
It's at the bottom. Is that it?
It's under it's where it says conclusion. Keep going down.
Okay.
Keep going down.
Thank
Keep
you,
going.
Paul Price. Very cool.
Yep. Keep going.
I'm going.
There it is.
Hold.
Conclusion.
Okay.
Up
Okay.
right there.
There we go.
That paragraph. That's the one where they accidentally tell the truth.
Only when we insist that the terms of the. Wow. Okay.
So
Here,
yeah, I mean
that-
that right there is the creationist saying straight up, we can't win the debate about genetic entropy without changing the meaning of fundamental terms like fitness.
Yeah. Which are mathematically pure and, about modeling. And I don't understand. Like, I went round and around with Cell on that, and I just, and I beat him up in every which way. And he came away from that pretty much not wanting to talk to me anymore.
Well, and also their physical definition of fitness, or I don't know, how swole the organism is. I mean, okay, so maybe you could argue that we've detected this in humans just because, things like wisdom teeth no longer affect our fitness, right? So we could have, a wisdom tooth that damages our jaw and then just gets removed, and then you pass on that allele. But you'd also need to show that it happens outside of humans, for it to have any meaning at all.
Okay, Icarus asks what their definition of fitness is. Now, as near as I can tell, Sal Cordova thinks fitness is like some premier engineering feat, like the bird's magnetic, field finding ability or something like that.
Yeah, he tries to equivocate it with engineering. So, he says that, things like mechanical advantage and stuff like that would be a more fit organism.
Yep.
Which it just doesn't really make sense.
And what I love about these people is how hopeful they are. We're all dying a slow death of genetic decay.
Something I've noticed myself over the years is that they seem to have a different idea of what survival of the fittest means. I always hear them saying that it's like the strongest or the biggest.
Yeah, they like to put a direction on evolution, and they do that all the time. In every which way that they talk about it, they always see this direction towards some sort of supremacy.
Yeah. Well, I will say though, I feel like that misconception about evolution is very deeply ingrained in our society. Like that's something that you get taught in elementary school.
Yeah, it is, and that is problematic.
Yes,
I'm going to scoot everybody because I have loud things to do. But thanks for letting me hop on and sharing that little bit of accidental truth telling with you.
Yep, thank you, Dan. And Andrew just does want to have a talk with you about developmental biology. If we could do that at some point,
we can absolutely do that. I'm doing the Jensen thing tonight, but we'll email. We'll pick a date.
And Dr. Dan, you're a better representative of the Dannies than who we usually are.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks.
I'm still listening. I'm just doing loud things like dishes and vacuuming. So I'm out of here.
Okay.
Bye.
And I always appreciate it when people don't do dishes and vacuum while they're on the channel.
Yeah.
It is very nice.
Or eat fucking potato chips. That just drives me crazy.
Or try and watch South Park episodes.
Sorry, yeah. Yep. Not going to mention names, but
yeah.
Anyway.
Not to mention any names. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what else we got going on here. What do you think we have going on? What do you guys want to talk about?
I I don't know.
I don't know either. Oh, I was going to find another clip. Where is this clip? Maybe I can find another clip for us, a juicy one, which has a topic all on its own. Oh, did anyone crack the code that's coming up on Sunday?
I'm very excited for that one.
Yes.
Oh.
A cable repairman broke the code.
Yeah.
Cable repairman?
Yeah, nobody got the reference to the first Independence Day. Come on, Jeff Goldblum.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
The terms that Maddox put up on his recent community post are very strange. I'm just curious how this will go out. Like, just because, I mean, most of them you look at them and it's, you know, Dan already accepts them. So how is he going to try to weasel out of him getting money?
So Nestle, did you read that entire Smith and Morowitz book?
Smith and Morowitz?
Smith and Morowitz on The Origin of Life, Nestle. I'm sure I got that book from you, right? The idea?
Neslick might have a question for Walker.
Oh,
Huh?
okay.
What's up?
Well, no, because he had put. I think it was you said. Maybe it was something Dr. Dan said, but Neslick had posted how swole they are? Question mark.
Oh yeah. Well, that was kind of my joke about like Sal trying to define fitness. But I mean, you can't use that definition of fitness in an evolutionary context just because one, it's very malleable, right? You know, what's the more fit organism, the faster one or the stronger one? I don't know. It depends on what their environment is and how many kids they have. And once you get back to having kids and, you know, passing your alleles on to the next generation, you start getting into, you know, reproductive success. So like, you know, we've talked about this. Oh, hey.
It's working. My mic wasn't working for a moment. So to answer your question, I have not read the entire book yet.
Yeah, I've been struggling my way through bits and pieces of it all the way through, and it is an incredible book. I love it. Absolutely love it. But it isn't something that I could imagine reading all the way through because of the amount of time it takes to read it. So.
Boy, that is one chubby fucking raccoon.
Oh, my raccoons are pretty chubby.
I mean, is that
you drawing? Or is that...
Does that raccoon have man boobs?
Yeah. Is Nathan sharing the screen right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's been drawing. He started drawing that yesterday. Speed, and then
I like the vampire teeth. It's very amusing.
I'm going to mute for a second. I'm kind of listening to something. I'm trying to find something.
Trying to find something to share that supposedly will be a good little clip to talk about.
But yeah, I don't know. The thing I was going to talk about was just that I said this to Sal like months ago, and then he didn't really have a response. He's like, "Oh, that's a great question. I'll think about it." And then I don't think he's really changed any of his arguments. But you know, just the idea of Superman, right? Superman is super strong. He can fly. He can run super fast. But he's also from like a different planet, and he probably can't reproduce with humans. So if he's not passing down his alleles, what effect does he have on the population? And if you define evolution as the change in allele frequency over time, and his alleles aren't contributing to the population at all, what is it doing for fitness?
I mean, you could say that Superman is keeping people safe so they can, so they can reproduce, because he does save them.
Wait a minute. If he's keeping people safe that normally wouldn't be safe if he wasn't here, then he's actually circumventing natural selection, isn't he?
Well,
it's artificial selection.
At that point, though, you're still not circumventing selection, right? Like selection's just a mathematical principle, but he is reducing the deleterious effect of alleles that would potentially have a stronger effect in a different situation. You know, so like I said earlier,
fitness is always context dependent. Always.
Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, something like your wisdom teeth, right? If your wisdom teeth, if we were living in the plains of Africa or something, we didn't have access to modern medicine. If your wisdom teeth didn't grow in properly and you got an infection and you died from it, then it would be a deleterious allele. But since we live in modern America, well, most of us, at least in here, live in modern America and stuff. Nestle, where are you from?
The Netherlands.
Oh, okay.
That's even more
But at
modern.
least, at least the West, right? We all live in the West. We have access to Western medication. Having a wisdom tooth that grows in wrong isn't going to negatively affect your fitness in any way, right? You just get it removed, and then you pass on those alleles, and then it just bounces around due to drift.
I have all 4 of mine removed.
I need to get mine removed. Mine back right is starting to bleed a bit.
not very pleasant. I first one side or 2 of one side, and then a few weeks later the other 2 on the other side were removed. Because I need one side to be able to chew for the time. Yeah. Jesus.
So, I have a clip.
All right.
I think it's the right one.
If that's the only thing being taught in the church, we end up losing.
This is Emery Moyna. This is Sal's new kind of pet. He's I think he's doing graduate work in biology.
Can I say something real quick before we move on?
Yeah.
This is one of my normal type of comments that add so much color to the conversation. But
excellent.
Yeah, I know. Walker was talking about Superman and how, because he's from another planet, probably has a different genome, probably couldn't, reproduce with human beings. The other problem is that he's Superman, so when he finishes, it would probably blow right out her back.
Yeah, there was some.
That was a plot in that was a plot point in The Boys, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, that was discussed. Anyway, okay. Thank you for that little kernel.
Okay.
Yep. Credit where credit's due.
Most for young people, they don't know how to answer the questions that they're being challenged with.
Right. I mean, they feel, even if you have people that are qualified in doing it professionally, even in my church, I'm not invited.
I know.
They'll say, "Oh, that's really great work you're doing," but you're never get invited to Sunday school to teach it, even when you've offered. And then I hear parents coming back, "Oh, my kid doesn't know what to do when what he heard in public school, and they went off to college and now they're atheists." I'm just like, okay, what did the church do, to help them with that? Nothing.
Foreskin. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Sal, I'm sorry if you hear this, but maybe there's some different reasoning behind why they don't want you to teach kids. I don't know. I'm just saying.
The thing is, what he's saying here is that if you teach kids science, then they become atheists. Right?
You got to indoctrinate the kids first before they hear any other positions.
Right. And they get a little, they kind of double down on that, especially Emery Moyna.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the church has made a lot of mistakes in the last 110, 120, 130 years. But
a lot of mistakes and longer.
That one is up there because the church has just decided to stick its head in the sand, pretend that the colleges aren't atheist factories, pretend that the public schools aren't atheist factories. It was something like 90% of Christians send their kids to public school. There's an article on Answers in Genesis on this, where it talks about the percentage of time that kids in a public school spend in a school versus how much they spend in a church.
Did you fucking hear that? Did you hear him say that out loud? The amount of time you spend in school compared to the amount of time you spend in church. Now, what does he think the ratio should be?
Well, what if you go to a religious school or something? Then it's almost 1-to-1.
Or if you go to, is he suggesting that you, okay, I think it's 20-to-1 that you spend about 20 hours. When I was 8 years old, I spent 20 hours in church, in school, and 1 hour in church, right? 20-to-1. Does he think the ratio should be reversed? That we should send kids to church for 20 hours and send them to school for 1?
Couldn't they just like set aside one day every month and like call it Ignorance Day or something like that? And
We used to have when I was in public school every Wednesday, they would pack us all up in a line and send us to either the Lutheran, the Catholic, or the Presbyterian church for an hour, and we called it religious, and it was basically a chance to fuck off for an hour. And I remember we went to the Catholic church, I think, or maybe the Lutheran, and they put this like charcoal on us, like on our foreheads. Does anybody know what the fuck that was about?
Probably the Palm Sunday, right? They put like a cross on your. Huh?
Well, Ash Wednesday is where you put ash on your forehead.
Yeah.
Okay, is that a Catholic thing or is that a?
Yeah, and then you make a vow to go without something
for Lent. Yeah, it's not exclusively Catholic. My church did it as well, and it was always Methodist.
Hey,
I thought it was a Lutheran.
Can you choose to go without church for Lent?
I think so.
I mean, you could. I think most people in your church would just be confused.
But I remember we were all walking down the street single file, and we all had that ashes on our head, and we were trying to rub it off, and it's like, what the fuck? what is wrong with these people? Yeah.
Well, as far as what Emory expects, I know there's, as a Southern Baptist, there was a big emphasis on people going to church on Sunday morning for Sunday school, and then go to worship service, and then come back Sunday evening. And they usually had some sort of youth thing on Sunday evenings, sometimes while the sermon's going on, or sometimes before your regular worship service. And then Wednesdays were a big night that, well, there would be youth events and lessons and things. So
you're talking about Catholic church?
It was a Southern Baptist thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had, so whenever I was going to church a lot, I was probably spending like 9 or 10 hours a week at church.
Oh, shit. Oops.
Yeah.
Because like there were walk-ins and things like that where
Discovery Weekend,
watch videos, play games, and then there would be preaching and stuff too.
I always thought the lock-in things were fun though.
So,
Like,
Lucifer Almighty put up my my slogan for my life.
Generally meat.
Yep.
Meat's
generally bacon.
I know, like in Catholic churches, they have like youth nights. They have like once a week check your prostate youth night.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I could use that.
Before we play the video, I got something for you, just for a few seconds.
I don't understand evolution, and I have to protect my kids from understanding it. We will not give in to the thinkers.
Yep.
Wait, is that the scene before the orangutan dude comes up and he's like,
Dr. Banjo.
Yeah, don't play that too long. I'll get a strike.
No, that's why I was saying a few seconds.
Yep. Yeah, but yeah, that's great. Somebody sent me that quote a few months back. So, well, let's check on progress here. Raccoon's looking pretty good.
He's got man boobs though.
He's got man boobs.
Hey, it's just a fat raccoon. You know,
my raccoon would have man boobs. I approve of man boobs on raccoons.
I like when I walk my dog in the morning, my mom's dog in the morning, and then you go along and there's been snow on the ground for like a month now, and you see all the different tracks, you know, of like other people walking their dog in the snow, and then you come along, and then all of a sudden there's these little handprints in the ground. Oh, yep, coon came through here last night.
Yep. Yes. I hope that doesn't start up. Okay, I'm going to play a little more of Emory and his wisdom.
And the something like 3 or 4 to 1. You can't compete with that unless the parents and the church are actively undoing everything that the public school is doing. And realistically, you're probably still going to lose anyway.
Isn't that the greatest thing you've ever heard? So we're going to pay for public schools, and then we're going to undo everything they do in church. What the fuck is wrong with these people?
Well, and then what's going to happen to the kids when you do that? Like, okay, so we're going to let them go to school all week long and learn shit, and then we're going to tell them how wrong it is when they come to church. Like, what's going to happen to the kid? Like,
when I took
don't
biology,
want to live on this planet anymore.
when I took biology, I don't think the word evolution was ever mentioned, and I think in current biology texts, I don't think they make all that big a deal about it, and they certainly don't try to change anybody into an atheist. I mean, I don't know what the hell they're talking. They just what he's saying is that if you learn science and you don't have a filter, if you don't have that Bible filtering everything you think and say, you're going to become an atheist. What was?
Oh, it's Ken Ham's God classes, he calls it.
Yeah, it's just kind of amazing. I like listening to it. I like listening to them when they're all in a room talking together, because it's very revealing about what lies beneath all this bullshit.
Then the odds are not in your favor.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I'm just imagining this scene in my head where a kid goes back to school, and then the teacher says something, and they raise their hand and say, "Yeah, my preacher said that was horseshit."
Yeah,
Oh,
I saw.
Danny is here. We have to change the topic to philosophy now. Damn it.
Oh no, is Danny here? Oh, no, he's not.
Oh, he's just in chat. Yeah, we're just reminiscing about our previous Christian days, the Sunday school and shit.
Yeah, yeah. I had this. I had this friend who had a little boy, and he came over here, and I was showing him a book on dinosaurs that I wanted to give him. I wanted to give him this really nice, really expensive book on dinosaurs, and he did. And I could see that the guy didn't want me to give it to his kid, and he was telling me, and he's not even a creationist or a theist, but he was he's one of these people that deny everything that science comes up with, and so then I tried teaching his kid about molecules, and he was saying, well, we have never really observed that, so we're unsure about atoms, and how they behave, and I was so put off by that it actually ended the friendship.
Get the fuck out of my house! You're gonna say that kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah.
Have I ever talked? I don't know if I've ever talked about fully the event that made me sort of reevaluate creation and biblical literalism and all that shit. And it was so what happened was I was at school and I got into because I've always liked extinct organisms, stuff like that, and I got into a discussion with this person who was a young Earth creationist, and she was also a dino denier, and I was like, God, that's fucking crazy. Who could just deny that dinos exist? And I was like, God, do people look at me and think that? Are you kidding me?
Well, and you know what? What's interesting about that is most young Earth creationists try and come up with some kind of way to account for dinosaurs in their young Earth creationism.
I just caught Nathan removing the man boobs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we caught you, Nathan.
So it's funny because I've never seen it before, but Danny is he's pulling his passive aggressive shit on Walker in the live chat now too. Walker had mentioned Occam's razor, and Danny, always finding new and clever ways to call people stupid, says just a walking fish. Oh, interesting that you think Occam's razor serves as a reason.
Well, in his defense, though, I could have probably worded that better because I put Occam's razor first, and really that was sort of a conclusion, right? There were passages for me that you could see how, if you look at older texts like the Masoretic texts and Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff, you could see how passages in the Bible changed over time, right? And you could see how humans were imposing their own thoughts and shit into the Bible, and how it wasn't just a God-breathed text, right? It wasn't, not everything in the Bible was divinely inspired, because you go back to the Dead Sea Scrolls and Goliath was 6'8", and if you read the King James version, Goliath is 9 feet tall. It's obviously a big fish story, And you can also look through the different like books of the Bible.
I
and
got
you
a
can
fish this big. No, this big.
Yeah, and you can also sort of see how God evolved, for lack of a better word, like throughout the Bible, right? So like in the earliest biblical text, he's a personal God of this specific people group. And then when that people group begins getting influence, he becomes a wartime god, right? Because he's stronger than the other gods. And then when they have their own settled kingdom, well, now he's the only god.
Oh yeah,
And he's the god of
monotheism.
gods and all that. And you can see how the Israeli, or I guess Hebrew thoughts of what God is and how that works changed over time.
It's also interesting to see like the possibility that Yahweh once had how is it called again? Like a wife, basically. Like,
well, and also doesn't Elohim, like what they refer to him a couple times, that just means like king of gods, implying that there's other gods, you know? And so it was just seeing like that kind of stuff. It sort of made me realize like this is just a book written by people. So if we're completely ignoring like any biblical contributions, right? You know, what's more likely, that there is a God or that there's not a God? And you know, you have to make way more assumptions to assume that there is a God.
And it's so funny. So Walker, when I brought it up, he said, "Yeah, I could have probably phrased that better. You know, I put that term in the wrong spot in the statement or whatever." And then Danny's still going on.
Well, yeah. So that's sort of what I was describing. That I was explaining why I felt like all else was equal in my mind, right? Like I had gotten this. If you think that Christianity is true, the main evidence for at least Christianity would be the Bible. But if you don't necessarily recognize the Bible as a reliable source, then all else is equal. And then Occam's razor implies.
Yeah. And then you have nothing, basically, to make you believe in God. And that's why a lacktheist is actually kind of a reasonable position. If you don't buy the Bible to begin with, then you have really no reason. You know?
Yeah. And also some books like refer to other books that didn't came into the canon of the Bible, like, you know, these forgotten Gospels, for example, like.
Yeah, and that concerns me.
The Gospel of Thomas and stuff.
Yeah, the Gospel of Thomas, a Catholic priest who I believe was an atheist recommended that I read that because it's apparently that's more Buddhist and less, less woo-woo.
Yeah, Gospel of Thomas is pretty interesting because it's really the only one that like focuses on his childhood. My favorite of the Gnostic texts would be the Gospel of Judas because that's just a fun one.
Well, you know, as somebody who lives,
why would this not include? Of course, you have these bullshit like things like the Council of Nicaea, like many. That's not true, of course, but I wonder why these were not included in the actual reasons.
So I was exposed to the church in the 1950s, and pretty much in the early 60s. And the interesting thing that I noticed is that it wasn't until after the whole hippie thing, and we got into the hippie thing turned into the health food thing, you know, this whole sort of and essential oils and all that stuff. But at the same time, around 1970, that's where you started hearing about Jesus all the time. When I went to school or went to church when I was young, the emphasis was on God, and the only time they really talked about Jesus was on Easter. They didn't talk about this whole giving yourself to Jesus, and they never said the phrase Jesus is Lord. They always talked about God. So it was God. So I think religion has changed in the last 40 years to become kind of a cult of Jesus rather than about God.
I mean, I seem to remember that too, to a large extent as you probably do. But yeah, the Lord God, but not.
Yeah.
Well,
the Lord Jesus.
To be fair, though, I would also much rather worship, Jesus as a Lord than the God of the Bible as a Lord.
Well,
yeah, that's fair.
I mean, Jesus is like, turn the other cheek, and God is like fucking bomb the homosexuals. So it's not very comparable.
Okay, and I understand your point, but you can wipe out. Wipe out. Well, hold on, let me finish. You could wipe out that whole rationale just by adding the Trinity to it, because Jesus came off as a more reasonable guy in the New Testament, but if you buy into the Trinity, then Jesus is God, so he did all those horrible things in the Old Testament too.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. I was just saying, I think the rationale makes sense. It's a little bit of a softer blow.
Yeah.
Hey, Speed, I need to ask a real quick question. I'm kind of curious. What does this? Have you made the point about do we need a warrant to arrest people for breaking the laws of probability?
Oh, that was about Otangelo. I have to pick an image, and that was on my mind. And Otangelo needs to be arrested for breaking the laws of probability.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know. We need to arrest him because he's still going on about that paper, and he produced another big long email, which brought my MacBook Pro 2019 to its knees just scrolling to the end of it.
Yeah, he just needs to save face somehow without admitting that he screwed up.
Yeah, my teaser topic, I should address it. Thank you, Scott, for.
Well, I don't know. It's been over an hour, and I was just kind of curious about what direction that was going to take.
Oh, did you get CC'd on those emails too, Scott?
No. I'm a persona non grata with Otangelo. I pissed him off at one point, and now, when he's in a chat room that I'm not a moderator in, I can't see what he's saying, but people are arguing with him. So,
oh my God, the email list that he has on this is just incredible. It's to me, Immutable Destiny, to John. I don't know who Ronnie Paskin is. 11th Dimension, John Maddox, Jungle Jargon, Standing for Truth, George Bond, Matt, Praise, Dr. Dan, Lisa for Truth, Gavin Hurleman. It goes on and on and on. It's just like, oh my God.
I mean, is he like, hey, I think I will show everybody how stupid I am.
Yeah. And the worst part about it is he's giving everybody's email address to everybody else.
Right. Yeah.
So he's essentially doxing people a little bit.
In that one thread that they had going here a while back, I think it kind of died off. Now I know fucking Nephilim Free's real name. And all because he started that chain. What the fuck?
Yeah, so giving everybody's email address to everybody else would be kind of passive aggressive, and I've noticed that kind of streak in him.
Well, he stumbles like that all the time, and I think he's innocent in that he doesn't really he doesn't understand this community too much, because he will put a link to sites that violate copyright, and he's got it all over his cat's board. And he doesn't even realize that it's illegal in the United, at least in most countries.
I mean, here's the thing. It's so funny because when I got that email, like I was telling Speed earlier, the first thing I did was check and see how big it was. So I just scrolled. I was on my phone and I just scrolled and scrolled. And I kept scrolling and I kept scrolling and didn't even come to the bottom of the email. I just scrolled so far and I was like, well, fuck that. And I didn't even read it. I just sent him a response back, TLDR. Why would you think I would read this? And he got all triggered by that and sent me some, answer back, which I'm sure everybody else got too. And then I just blocked them. I mean, and they're not blocked them or whatever it is you do on Gmail so you don't hear from them again. But it's so funny because there was a situation where he could have maybe got some cred amongst everybody in this little corner of the community, because that email should have been sent to everybody that took part in the stream where he got all butthurt. And it simply should have been, you know what, guys, when I left the stream, I brought that paper back up and I did read through the whole thing, and you guys were right. I got it wrong. Thanks for pointing that out. We've literally in this show, in these daily streams, I remember Speed, and I, even tried to give him some pointers on, because he was writing these syllogisms that were paragraphs long, and he was actually sounded sincere. He was asking people in the room, well, what could I do to make my argument better, and stuff like that. And we actually took time out and tried to help him, but I don't think he adopted anything that anybody in here told him. I guess Tangelo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and he's quoting you and Immutable and in this email. And he's on and on. Yeah, you and Immutable. He's really going after you guys. He's not quoting me at all. He's quoting me too. So, okay. What the hell is he saying?
I think Danny has a suggestion for a new topic.
Does he?
What?
Yeah, well, no, he said a while back he wants somebody in here to explain what's wrong with me.
With Danny?
What's
wrong with Danny?
No, with me.
Nothing.
Oh, that's
that doesn't
great,
make sense. There's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with Danny. But we figured that out yesterday, but we couldn't explain it to him.
Explain what's wrong with John. I think this was when I was chuckling at the fact he was still going on about Occam's razor even after Walker gave his explanation of, actually gave a mea culpa of, I guess I used that in the wrong spot. And then he says, of me, is he still angry? No, I'm not angry, Danny.
Anyway, let's see. Yeah. I was going to play a little more of Emery Moyna. Let's see what else he has to say. Is that
I've
okay?
Never heard of that guy.
Emery Moyna? It sells.
Yeah, I know of him because you've been playing this thing, but yeah, I'd never heard of him before that.
Yeah, he's been on Cell's channel. He's kind of Cell's partner now. And he's the biologist, and he admitted that molecular biology confuses his mind, and he likes to think about organisms. So I thought he was that he was going to school for genetics, and I was like astounded by some of the things that he got wrong. But he did explain that he's more of a biologist. So anyway, so we'll give him a break.
That's why I'm not in favor of public education. But that's neither here nor there. That's not my. I'm not going to go into that on Sal's channel. But the point being, you're not going to win that just by having them go to church on Sunday morning and then going to maybe going to youth group on Wednesday night or whatever. That's a battle you're going to lose most of the time. And unfortunately, that's where we end up with most of our young people, is because we show no discernment and we just don't think.
Well, maybe some of us don't.
No, this is not a book, Redefine Living. This is because I've read Already Gone. That's a very good book. This is an article where they actually went through and calculated up like how much time kids spend in a public school setting versus how much time they would spend in a church if they're their best case scenario, like 3 to 4 times a week. And of course, most people don't go that often. So,
goddamn, this guy is pure evil as far as I'm concerned. So he's basically saying,
have you ever seen his channel before?
No,
he has some very interesting things. I'm pretty sure he's gotten he's saying that America is terrible because we started letting gay people in the military and stuff like that.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
So he's a real piece of work, eh? Does he have his channel down here somewhere?
Why would he ever have a problem with that? I don't know.
No, he doesn't have his channel. I don't know. Why do they have a problem with anything?
The name of his channel, Fish?
Must be Emery.
It's just in his image. No, it's in his image.
In his
image? Oh no!
Dapper's watching this stuff before. Yeah.
I remember, I left a few comments on one of his videos, and he deleted it after it.
Hey, Stupid Horror Energy. They were talking about some dude who has a channel named In His Image, and what's his name again, Speed? His actual name?
Emery Moyna. Emery Moyna.
Yeah. Emery Moyna. Yeah. And whenever I can, I have a question I want to ask Walker.
Mm-hmm.
You can now.
Oh, okay. Because it's interesting. I was checking out, you're chatting back and forth with Danny there, and I think maybe it was Speed who I heard feels the same way you do, but I'd like to hear why you say that. But you had said in the chat while you were talking to Danny that you don't find the problem of evil very convincing, and you think it's less effective now that you're an atheist. Could you maybe flesh that out a little bit? Why you think that?
Well, I just think that if you read the Bible and you take all of it literally, I don't think you have to accept that God is omnibenevolent.
Yeah.
And I agree that if you accept that God is omnipotent, omnibenevolent, and omniscient, like if you accept all three of those, then the problem of evil would exist. I just don't think that you have to accept all three of those premises. So then the problem of evil doesn't necessarily have to be an argument. I found it more compelling when I was a Christian because I had always been going to church and heard that, like, oh, well, God loves you, God, all this other stuff. But if you read the Bible cover to cover, that's not really the vibe that at least I get.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I've always thought that, but like I guess I didn't recognize it as succinctly as you just put it. That, yeah, if you accept God as how he's portrayed in the Old Testament, then why is there a problem of evil? He's evil.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's too contradictory. Also, it looks like IHI, or In His Image, has gotten rid of a lot of his more political videos.
Really?
So
is this him? This is him?
Let me see. Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
I like.
He has some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I listened to some of his videos on dinosaurs, and he has no idea what he's talking about. Like he thinks that like a dinosaur called Rugops is just a baby. It might be a baby tyrannosaur, but no. If you know anything about dinosaur morphology, no, they are not alike at all.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I want to listen to this one.
You might have a couple. There was this one that Dapper sent to me, and he's like, "Do you have any idea what's going on?" I think it was the relative versus absolute fitness one.
Yeah.
Or it could have been the ecology, evolution, natural selection. I don't remember what it was, but he was like playing with like magnets, and I was very confused.
So I'm guessing. I'm kind of guessing what this one is about: Minneapolis, George Floyd, and social justice.
He has another banger on there called "Pedophilia in the Schools."
What?
I wonder what these are about.
Is he a QAnoner?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know enough about him or like his content to, say with any.
What were you just looking at, Speed, that you said you'd like to watch?
The George Floyd one. He did a George Floyd video on George Floyd, Minneapolis, and social justice, as he puts it.
The George Floyd one. So was he like Darth and a few other people? Yeah, you know what? Kneeling on some guy's neck. That's not a problem.
No.
I don't know. I haven't watched that one. I'm not gonna make any assumptions about what he does or doesn't say.
He's got a lot of videos. What the hell?
I know he's extremely conservative, so I wouldn't be surprised. But
he's done a hell of a lot of videos.
Yeah, he is. His videos don't get too many views either.
There it is. Rugops. You see the one on
this one
on the left.
Normalizing pedophilia.
No,
what?
Rugops.
What is this? Rugops?
In that video, he claims that like this dinosaur, it may be a baby tyrannosaur, but it is not. Like it's like saying a hummingbird is a baby penguin.
Oh boy, this is so. I got all the dumb in one place here. Mm-hmm. I love when they condense the dumb for me.
Yeah, he has. I mean, you could totally go through like one of his videos and respond to it. His videos are usually fairly concise. If you find one that's like interesting, he doesn't go on a huge amount of tangents because it's just him talking.
Yeah.
And by interesting, you mean
pedophilia in schools. What is that one about?
I have no idea. It only has 19 views, so only 19 other people have heard what he thinks about pedophilia in schools.
His point about that, I'm dying to hear that one. It's like, holy shit. Okay.
Yeah, this is his channel, Emery Moya.
The rise of the woke religion. What the fuck? Debunking an evolutionary textbook. And oh my God, this guy's a piece of work.
He looks like he's the gift that keeps on giving.
He does. Yep. Mm-hmm. There he is, having a drink of water, holy water. Get rid of them public schools, man. Those public schools are creating atheists. You know, this.
The water is just atheist tears.
I wonder if he had to get out of him like every other day at school, and now he just hates public school.
Most kids grow up, go to college, start talking to other people, and they think, "Oh yeah, mom and dad, they're kind of whack." I'm not, you know, and like I'm not a Christian anymore because mom and dad.
Well, I'm pretty sure he went to like a Bible college, so.
Yeah, he probably did. Yeah, where every good kid should go and get indoctrinated day and night. And I bet he's a real joy to be in, to have him in your class as a professor.
It seems to me that there should be some legal action taken to you know, disconnect the words Bible and college as ever being allowed to be in the same sentence.
There's some religious colleges that are still pretty good, but I think the good part of them is the secular part of them.
Like what the Dr. Dan says in the chat, I also agree. We shouldn't make fun of the person, just the beliefs.
I don't know.
Hey,
I'm done with them.
Nathan put the man boobs back.
Beautiful.
And he also colored the tail, so let's not forget that.
I'm a little harsher, Dr. Dan, than your average atheist.
You know, I think it depends
I'm just
who it
tired
is.
of it. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of the propaganda and the dishonesty and what they're trying to do that I'm just tired of them. You know,
I think it fully depends on who it is. Like, I don't know enough about Emery Moynihan or whatever to like shit talk him. I've just watched a couple of his videos. But I will say, like, making fun of John Maddox is perfectly justified.
Hashtag John Maddox is a grifter.
Yeah. And, you know, it's just, I don't know. They're just not good people. And that's overall. And they
Some of
deserve
them, I would say.
derision. A lot of them.
Yeah. I don't like making blanket statements, but yeah.
So Maddox was in one of our streams over on Knox channel one day, and I noticed him, so I was doing the hashtag John Maddox is a grifter. And then Knock had told me about something he had said that was just complete and utter bullshit. And so I was like, oh yeah. Oh, by the way, also hashtag John Maddox is a liar. And he was going off on me in the chat. He's like, you know, could you put that hashtag John Maddox is a grifter to rest? And I said to Knock during the stream, I'm like, hey, Knock, what do you think his chances are? He asked me to stop doing that I'll stop doing it now. Knock's like, yeah, no chance at all. And then he just fucking went off the deep end when I said hashtag John Maddox is a liar. All right. He's like, I can put up with the grifter thing, but if you're going to start calling me a liar, yeah, you know, and I said something like, well, what are you going to do? You're going to reach through the internet and choke me out? Like,
yeah.
Well, I have a very large physics exam tomorrow, so thank you all for letting me take a break, but I should probably get back to it.
Yeah, and I think we could wrap early today because I've got some clinical things to I got to find a clinic. The clinic that I picked, I just found out they don't handle my health care for some reason, and so I got to pick another one. So I don't know.
Yeah, right. You know, I know what you're going to go do right now.
What? Sleep?
No, you're going to go and pleasure yourself to this picture that Nathan.
I don't think so. I might go listen to Emery Moynihan talk about Minneapolis, George Floyd, and social justice because I want to because the more I find out about this guy, the less I'm liking him.
Well, and it's so funny because as soon as you guys were showing him on screen and showing some of the titles and that, I immediately went to YouTube and subscribed to him. I have to come up with some content for Rage's channel too. So.
Yep. Yes. And I will do the same and keep an eye on this mother. Because
he's a mother? Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. Well, I didn't complete that.
Yeah, I know. I was joking.
I was going to complete that.
Well, you've also seen like the videos that Dapper made about like in his image, right? Like going over many he goes over many dinosaurs that has feathers, and he says
he sort of eyeballs it.
Yeah,
it's like yeah, it's a bird.
Yeah, but at one point he calls a ornithischian a bird and a bird and not bird, and like it's just a mess. Like
Yeah, that was. I thought that one was hilarious. He called. What was it? It was
at
a
the end.
ceratopsian,
I think
right?
at the end, Yenulong, I think, or maybe
Something. I don't know.
Psittacosaurus.
But it was some ornithischian that has like it didn't even have like true feathers. It had like proto feather quills and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, it's a bird. Okay.
Did you know that they discovered that there was a dinosaur that was lesbian?
Have y'all seen the dinosaur the onion video?
No, wait! You're not gonna jump in after my straight line without.
I'm sorry.
Listening to what the punchline. No, they did find a lesbian dinosaur. It's called a Licholotopus.
Oh God!
Have y'all seen the onion video? Scientists find the skeleton of nature's first sexual predator. So yeah, it's a good one.
No, I had not seen that one.
What is it now?
The Onion is great. I love the Onion.
It's an Onion article.
The Onion,
yeah.
The skeleton of the first sexual predator.
Well, wasn't that like G-Man's source?
Did G-Man use that?
Yeah, I don't know. Like in the debate, he used like one source about giants existing, and it was like maybe not an Onion, but it was a satirical website. Like he didn't know they were just pulling people's legs.
You know, I wouldn't put it past them.
The Onion almost.
I was just going to say, sorry, me and Speed are waiting for the creationists to start quoting Otangelo's video from the other day, where he fabricated with the program that Top Dog introduced him to. He had Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye the Science Guy and some other people saying things that Otangelo always says about creationism.
So the Onion almost went out of business because they couldn't tell the difference between Onion articles and Donald Trump's real what Donald Trump really did. I mean, it was, you couldn't tell.
10 times the Onion predicted the future.
They took a hit.
Matter of fact, me and Speed reviewed that video today on Knox channel, and Dragnot Silvis was in the live chat. Mm-hmm. He's like, man, I can't. Neil deGrasse Tyson couldn't have said that.
Yeah.
He must have been quoting somebody else or something. And then, no, we're telling him, Drag, those are Otangelo's words. He wrote that and put it in a program to make it sound like Neil deGrasse Tyson said it.
And doesn't that spell out the problem with what Otangelo did?
Yeah.
I mean, that is, I don't know if any laws were broken, but certainly some social laws were broken there. I mean, I don't know. And Otangelo, like I say, is an innocent. He doesn't realize when he's doing stuff like this. Mm-hmm. He really doesn't.
Even when he misspelled Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah,
Neil deGrasse.
But that was the only one he misspelled. So.
Wait, Neil deGrasse. All right, but yeah, I need to peace out. I'll see y'all.
Okay, we're gonna end, guys. Okay. Goodbye, cruel world. Huh?
Fine by me.
Okay, we're gonna end the broadcast. Goodbye, cruel world. That's all you're getting today. Fuck it all.